Good morning, Buffalo. Welcome to Western New York at Work with Dale Martin and Lauren Lewis. And Lauren, good morning to you.
Morning, Dale. How are you today?
I am feeling great this morning. It's kind of brisk out there, but the sun is shining, and I'm feeling great this morning. How about yourself?
I'm great. I know it's a beautiful morning. It's cold. My hot tea helped warm up my hands since I forgot my gloves at home. But, it's a wonderful morning in Buffalo, and it's great. We're outside of our element a little bit here.
That's right. Well, in fact, I think we are outside of our element. What we mean by that is that Western New York at Work, we've mentioned many times we are out in the community. But for those of you who are interested in knowing what that means, we participate in the Sky Ride. We participate in the Wing Fest. We participate in a number of business events that many of our clients are hosting. And this year, in 2019, we're going to do something very special. We're going to spend a lot more time going to our clients' place of business. Now, we'll still be live in studio, but what we're going to do also to make Western New York at Work a little different is go to where our clients are and see what their domain looks like. And I think I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm pumped. I think it's awesome. It's great to see different spaces and see our clients in their homes and see what really goes on, in their place of business.
That's right. And they're inviting us, so we didn't just show up. We asked permission to be there. And speaking of asking permission, that's one of the topics we're going to be talking about today. We are fortunate to be at the law firm of Vecchio and Stadler, your premier boutique intellectual property law firm. And so we're going to be talking to one of the owners, the man himself, Mr. John Vecchio. So John, again, thank you for being a part of Western New York at Work. So share with our audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh yes. Basically, I am a registered patent attorney, and people hear about patents, patent inventions, and all of that. But my firm and myself actually do that. I've been working in the field of patent law, trademark law, this whole world of intellectual property now for close to 20 some years. So it's a lot of experience, a lot of clients, a lot of different challenges, but the bottom line is I and myself and my firm are out there constantly helping people solve their intellectual property issues, whether they have a trademark that's being infringed or they want to obtain a trademark, or whether they have an invention and they're a small inventor or a big corporation. The mission of our firm is to help them.
And John, what made you get into intellectual property law?
Well, it's sort of a long story, sort of a convoluted story, because you don't get there overnight. You just don't say, hey, I'm going to do this. No. What happened was I went to University of Buffalo for undergraduate. I picked up a mechanical engineering degree while I was there. Okay. Do
you need to have a mechanical engineering degree to do intellectual property law? Or is that?
That's sort of like think of intellectual property. Yeah. Basically, you got trademarks, you have copyrights, and you have patents. So any attorney can do copyright law.
Okay.
Any attorney can do trademark law, where you got brands, logos, Nike, swoosh, McDonald's, that's all the trade. But for patent attorney work, that's a bit different because the U.S. government says, hey, if you want to be a patent attorney, you have to have a scientific background of some sort, a chemistry background, an engineering background of industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, and they're throwing a little kicker for you. You have to pass the patent bar exam.
So not only just the bar exam, the New York State bar exam, but the patent bar exam as well.
So even to sit for it, you have to have this scientific background, and then they throw that little kicker. Oh, you got to pass this exam too. And then, trust me, it's not an easy thing.
I'm sure it's not.
It's really not, because you got to remember this patent law. The whole concept of it came out of England from way back before we were even a country. This letters of patent and patent grants. So you do that, and all of a sudden you're a patent attorney, and then so you can help people seek patent protection for their inventions and file patent applications for them and do all kinds of wonderful things.
You mentioned the four core areas of intellectual property. Would you state them once again?
Yeah. Well, you have patents.
Yes.
You have trademarks. You have copyrights. And I guess you can throw trade secrets in there as well as another core area of that.
Okay. The reason I ask the question is because I would like to maybe begin at the beginning. For example, an individual, he or she they have an idea, and that idea could be to start a t-shirt business, whatever the case may be. They just have an idea that they want to start a business. They have a name in mind. They might even have a logo in mind.
Right.
So for that individual, he or she, how do you get them started down the right path of understanding intellectual property and advising them from a business standpoint as well as the intellectual property standpoint?
Well, okay, so when a client comes in with a more specific issue they want to deal with, say, for example, the trademark. I mean, that doesn't really have a lot to do with the patent. This person has a logo or a brand or something of that nature that they want to tie in association with the goods or services they will be providing. And so they say, well, the big question and a big issue of any person in that situation has to deal with, okay, I got a great brand, I have a logo, a brand, or a combination of, the word mark or a design mark that I want to use in connection with the sales of my t-shirts and my services or whatnot. So you just can't go out there and take any name or logo that you find and say, well, I'm going to use this, because you will set yourself up for potentially a disaster, because you might end up infringing someone else's registered trademark or whatnot.
Yes.
So the best thing you can do is you can go to the United States Patent and Trademark Office's website, okay, and literally you can search every registered or abandoned trademark that is out there right on their USPTO. It's uspto.gov. That's the website. You can type in, I'm interested in this particular mark. And you type it in, and it kicks you back whether it's been registered or a lot of information free right there, boom, for people to use. But even if you do that, that might not be enough. People want a little more layer of security than that. So you can actually order a trademark availability search. There's companies that do that, pay them their fee, and they'll come back with every, state trademarks, federal trademarks, corporate names, domain names, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so then after you finish that, I think the client's in a better position to say, okay, I can throw money at this project because I think my name is clear.
Right.
And once your name is clear, then also check if you can get the domain name before you throw money.
Yeah.
before you start throwing money into a project.
Yeah, that's a good point in this day and age too.
It is, because I've seen people that do all the other stuff, and they say, I can't get my domain name because and then you're in a situation where you sort of don't have the leverage.
When we started our company, we made sure the domain was available, and then every social media handle. We wanted to make sure we had it all accessible too.
Well, that's
social media throws in there
a perfect
too.
thing to do, because then you don't have to worry about that in the future.
Right.
So if the trademark availability search comes back clear and there's it appears that you can register this thing, then the next step would be to take your brand and file a trademark application in the United States Patent and Trademark Office.
Okay.
Then the next step was it goes to an examining attorney at the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, and then the examining attorney takes a look at the mark you want to have registered, okay, and then the examining attorney says, oh, I'm going to allow this mark to be registered because there's no conflicting marks out there. And what I mean by that is, like, if I went to register McDonald's for hamburgers, or they're going to say, go away.
Get out of here.
So the examining attorney is like a filter.
Okay.
And the examining attorney compares what you want to register as your brand with all the other federally registered trademarks out there. And if the examining attorney says, okay, you can register this mark, that's great, because then you pass that hurdle, and then the next step would be they'll send you, the registration. And that's when you get the little R. You ever seen that one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get the little R on your thing. You can only do that if you go through the federal, the federal process to get the R. Now, sometimes you'll see the TM.
Right.
Now, the TM is more or less you telling the world, hey, I'm asserting some kind of common law rights in this mark. And people can do that. You can start a business and throw TM on it, but it's just whatever common law legal rights you might have in it. You might not even have any, but you can throw a TM next to it. And a lot of people do that, but then once they get the registration, they'll erase the TM and they'll put the R there.
Because the R makes it more official. It's the more.
And as soon as you get the R, it's good in all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're in Buffalo and only selling product from here to Pennsylvania, as soon as you get the R, it's registered, it's federal. You gotta
Yeah.
understand, it's good in all 50
So
states.
the R is federal, whereas the TM mark is just more on the
It's-
state level
Well,
or
even
local level?
Yeah, local, more local than you would believe, because trademarks like in the state of New York, for example, they're pretty much limited to the geographic footprint of where you are. Like if you're in Buffalo and you're using, one of the local restaurants or food chains that are just local here. I mean, if they get if they put a TM on next to their brand, it's really just a footprint of where you are. Because if you're like out by, Albany or something, they're not going to recognize a conflict or anything like that.
Exactly, yes.
So my advice to people is, if you're going to really want to secure your business, and you got to start thinking, hey, I'm starting here, but in 2 years I might want to start selling product in California, then I would advise do your search for your trademark.
Yeah.
Okay. First step, and then file your application and go through the process, and then when the time comes, you'd be able to expand your brand to different states and with the R. So now
Right.
you're good to go wherever you end up going.
And how long is that process? It sounds like it can be a lengthy.
No, not for a trademark, because if you've done your due diligence and you've done your search and you're confident that this mark's going to move through, because you see, the worst thing you can do is file a mark and without doing any due diligence of what else is out there.
Right.
Let's say you just file. I'm going to file the mark Nike for use in connection with shoes and sneakers. And you file that application, it's going to get bounced out. The examining attorney is going to say, you can't file Nike for sneakers when Nike already owns all those marks, right? They're
Right,
gonna say,
Nike,
in the garbage
yeah.
can with the application. But if you do your due diligence, okay, and you say, okay, I'm going to do a good search, I'm going to see what else is out there. And, the examining attorney will see, okay, you want to register X for use in connection with pens or whatever. The examining attorney might say, no problems, there's no conflicting marks out there, and we're going to allow this thing to be registered, and that might only take 9 or 10 months from the day you file it to the day it's registered. So that can be a relatively quick process.
Okay, interesting.
But
No, go right ahead.
But the problem is if the examiner finds a conflicting mark, then you might have to play a little bit of back and forth volleyball with the examiner and tweak the language of what change up a little bit of what your goods or services are, to eliminate some of them, or a little bit of volleyball with the examiner to get your application through the process.
So
But
you gotta be really thorough, those examiners, really checking to make sure
the problem.
I'm sure there's some very minute differences sometimes between
You
logos, brands, names.
they can get down to the really tiniest little minutia about, this letter's a little different from that letter, and the whole question is, would there be consumer confusion in the marketplace?
Right.
Because the whole theory behind trademark law is to prevent consumer confusion. Because Congress said that we don't want people confused in the public about this mark and that mark. So if I was to file the trademark application for Coca-Cola using 2 C's, Coca-Cola, the examining attorney would say, wait a second, if we were to allow your registration, then there's a great likelihood that you're going to cause a lot of confusion in the marketplace and no registration for you.
Okay.
That's the whole theory of it.
And it makes sense because there's so many different businesses, and people are trying to get into business and start new things. You have to make sure it is clear on what you're doing,
Exactly.
not what someone else is doing.
Exactly.
And if I was the other person, if someone else came in trying to take something super similar to what we do or our logo, would be floored. It would be upsetting.
It would.
Someone did that, and
So
then
now-
with the confusion.
Now you gotta go back and make sure all your trademarks
Yeah.
are registered.
Well, let's talk about that a little further, because I think where we're going is the trademark secrets, and companies like Coca-Cola and many others have those trademark secrets. Well, first of all, how do you keep it a secret? I mean, is there a certain procedure that you have to do in order to?
That's an interesting concept, because when you start thinking trade secrets, you're saying, because patents protect inventions, right? They protect inventions, but the problem, if you get a patent and it's granted, it's only good for like 20 years from the day you filed it. Then it's available to the public. So the lifetime of a patent is this, okay? But if you go to a trade secret, that gives, what is a trade secret? It's something that gives your company or you a commercial advantage over your competitors. Okay, it's something that gives you or your company a commercial advantage over your competitors, and it's got to be secret. Meaning, it's you can't find it on the web. You can't find it in a book. It's secret. It's like a formula. KFC,
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken formula, formula Coca-Cola. Right. All these are trade secrets. I think there's a lot of other ones. I can't remember.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
That's why it's a secret, I guess.
Yeah.
well, okay. So if you got a trade secret, that gives you a competitive advantage over your competitors, and they can live forever. Like the formula for Coca-Cola has been around since what, 1900?
I'm not sure. I know it's been a long time.
It's over 100 years, and the reason they were able to do that is because they don't keep the formula in one spot. I think it's like locked up in 2 different locations, from what I've heard, and then nobody knows exactly how you mix them, how you cook the ingredients together.
Yeah.
They don't know that, and so there's no one person walking around. There might be one, maybe the CEO. Someone has
to know it.
at least one person has to know it, they'll make it. But you got to think, okay, you don't want anybody to know this that doesn't need to know it.
Right.
And when we get in the world of trade secrets, here's the problem though. If somebody is a disgruntled employee or just completely negligent and they leave it out on a countertop or accidentally leave it somewhere where they shouldn't have, and some third party comes and picks it up and says, hey, this is pretty cool, I found the invention, a good detailed description of the method of how to make Coca-Cola, and they walk out the door with it. Well, great. Now it's out
there.
They post it on the web, so now it's no longer a trade secret because now it's in the public domain.
Correct.
And the only remedy for Coca-Cola is to go after the joker who let it walk out the door.
Right.
Or corporate espionage, where somebody might have went in there and sort of stole it. So you got to be real careful, and that's why that's the risk with the trade secret, is someone taking it. And
For the local person, let me ask you this, sorry to cut you off, but for the local entrepreneur who owns an establishment, a restaurant,
Sure.
and they feel they make the best pasta or the best meat sauce, whatever the case may be, and they feel it's been in a family secret for 50 years, and all of a sudden someone stumbles upon their recipe. Now my question is, that family recipe, can that be a trade secret? And if it falls in the hands of an unwarranted family business espionage scenario, can that business owner go after that individual?
Well, the first part of that, the answer is yes. It can most definitely be a trade secret, because it's something that's not known in the public and gives the company a tremendous competitive advantage because everybody loves the product, everybody loves that sauce. And then if someone steals it, well, that is something that you can sue for, because it's basically unfair competition under New York and federal law. It's called unfair competition, and you can definitely sue them for many great things. You just have to prove that they
stole it.
That they stole it. You got to meet your burden of proof, but absolutely.
Okay, and it's going to impact your business as a result of that release of information.
Yeah, so you'd start suing for lost profits and lost this and lost that because of this guy's this intentional person that sort of took it and walked out the door with it. And it's better if they're intentional, but that brings up crazy issues like is it covered by insurance if it was an intentional theft? I don't know.
I'm sure it goes into all different paths you can go with it. With
a lot of depositions there about who was negligent and why he walked out the door.
Okay, well, great. Well, unless there's another question, let's take a very short break. You're listening, actually, you're watching Western New York at Work with Dale Martin and Lauren Lewis. And today we are at the intellectual property boutique law firm of Vecchio and Stadler.